Welcome in, guys. Welcome to another podcast. We're doing 2% Nate today, and today we're doing the "What the Hell Are We Doing" podcast featuring him and guest. And hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. We'll be talking about various different topics, and let's introduce him. Hello, Nate. Welcome in.
Hello. Thank you. It's good to be here.
So tell us on stream where people can find you and what they could expect when they go to your channel on Twitch.
Okay, so you can find me at twitch.tv/2%Nate, and everything I try to make consistent. So that's my Twitter /2%Nate. That's my Instagram as well. So it's pretty easy to find me. What can you expect? Well, I had one of my viewers once tell me that my stream is like a jack-in-the-box, because once you turn it and it opens up, you never know what pops out. So you can expect me, you can expect video games, but apparently I'm a bit wild, and who knows what the final outcome will be.
So how'd you get started on Twitch, and what inspired you to get started on Twitch?
I don't know if there was a specific inspiration. I just wanted to try it. I guess my friends were an inspiration. They always told me, like, that I never shut up, basically, and that I'd be a good streamer because of that, because it doesn't matter. Even when I'm offline, if I'm playing, talk about something constant, I don't know. I did work in IT, so all the tech stuff, messing around with OBS settings, stuff like that just came naturally, so it's pretty easy for me to just hit that start button and decide to start streaming one day.
Awesome. So yeah, tell us a bit more of your IT background and a bit more about that.
I'm not sure how much of a background it is because I didn't go to school for it. I built my first computer when I was 15 years old, and it's always been more of a hobby for me. But the short story is I would have never gotten hired because I didn't have the official background if it wasn't for just knowing someone in the company. Like, my dad golfed with the CFO. So the CFO just was like, yeah, you're hiring this guy whether you like it or not. I did prove myself once I got there because like I said, I have been building computers and doing all that stuff for a long time now. Yeah, it was kind of a strange sort of not anything to do with my professional college experience, but it worked out, so can't complain.
So you're self-taught building PCs, I assume?
Yeah, back then it was a lot harder to find information. This was 16 years ago that I built my first computer. Nowadays, you just look up any YouTube video and there's a million out there to help you. I actually tell people it's not as hard as it seems. It's like building Legos, except you want to make sure to ground yourself first so you don't short out your computer. That's the only extra step, though. Parts only fit into certain areas, so not as hard as you think.
So tell us how you built your first PC and what are the specs for your current PC?
I mean, I have a command on my channel for the current specs. I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I do have a Titan, but it's a 5-year-old Titan now. So it's a Titan X Maxwell, I think, which at this point underperforms even a 1080. And then I have an i7 from, once again, this was 5 years ago that I built this current computer I'm using. I think the only new part in the computer is my RAM, which is one of the easiest parts to upgrade. If you're building a computer and you need to cheap out on something, cheap out on the RAM. 2 years down the line, you can just get new RAM. It's the easiest part to replace. And as far as my first computer, yeah, I don't know how I learned. I guess I used the internet still. There was just less YouTube videos and more browsing forums. I kind of remember being on, like, oddly enough, the Bethesda forums from way back then, because they had like a general text section. I asked a lot of questions in that forum to get answers, which is kind of strange now, but sort of funny.
What's your Twitch goal, and what do you see forthcoming in the future of your Twitch channel?
I like to keep my goals simple. I'm not one of those people that, has this massive dream of having 1,000 viewers every day or anything like that. My goal is 2 followers a day. And it has been that way for the past 3 years. I because if you get too hyped, right? If you have this expectation that you're going to be the next, I don't know who the top streamer is these days, Shroud or something. If you have that expectation, you're just never going to reach it because yes, I'm sure Shroud's a great streamer and I'm sure he puts in a lot of effort, but he also probably has like a team of editors and, you know, like graphic design people and whatever else. If you're just one guy trying to succeed, you're never going to get that big. So you set your goals small and they pile on top of each other. I didn't get 1,200 followers in one night. I got it over the course of 3 years, 2 a day. So that will forever be my goal, 2 followers a day. I don't think it'll ever change.
Could you tell your best Twitch raid you had on your channel, and how was it like?
My best Twitch raid. I remember my first one because I feel like you never forget that. It was actually the second day I ever started streaming, which I thought was amazing that someone found me on my second day. His name was Don't Be Fail. He doesn't stream anymore, sadly. He was an old school RuneScape streamer and whatever's the next level above affiliate partner. He's a Twitch partner, so like he was way bigger than me. I wasn't even affiliate at that point. And then like he ended up liking me, so he kept coming back and like rating me several times after that. And I thought that was really, really cool. But I'm not sure because like obviously that's my first raid and I remember him very specifically. My best raid though, that's tough to say. I feel like I want to say it was from my crew because the reason I remember it, oh man, there were actually 2. Both times on drunk streams actually, because I sometimes decide to do a stream where I drink and, you know, have little like fun little games like that. And 2 times I had raids where I was just so hammered I didn't even know what was going on. And that's what made the raids fun, I guess.
So, speaking of RuneScape, was RuneScape the first game you streamed live for your audience?
Yes, old school RuneScape was the first game. I never expect, and for like a year, eventually I just took the dive. I knew I'd lose some viewership doing it, but I decided, hey, I wanted to be a variety streamer even when I first started. The only reason I picked RuneScape to start is because it's a very complex game, but it's simple. The actual actions you do in RuneScape are simple. You're just clicking on the stream. It's all mouse and nothing else. And I decided that would be a great way for me to practice streaming. I would be able to multitask OBS, my chat, everything else, and not have to worry about the gameplay. But then people liked watching me play RuneScape and I got stuck playing it for like a year. Not that I don't like the game, I just don't like streaming it that much. So I eventually just said to myself, you know what? I'm going to lose viewership, but I want to be a variety streamer. I'm going to take that dive.
That's very wholesome of you. Justin, do you want to ask any questions?
Am I not muted? Okay. I thought I didn't unmute myself. All right. Would you like to tell the viewers and all the future watchers on YouTube how you came up with your name?
Oh, yeah, that's actually I've never been consistent about names until I started streaming, and then I realized I don't want a different Twitter, Instagram, whatever name across the board. So I just wrote down a list of all the names I had used in the past, presented them to my friends, and had them vote on it. And 2% Nate was like an overwhelming victory. They liked that one the best. And a far second place was No Name Nate. And then after that, it was just no one even cared about the other names.
Okay.
But the 2%, I guess it's in and of itself. The reason I created it in the first place when I wasn't consistent about my naming was just, it's the stupidest reason, but it's because I love milk. That's literally it. The 2% comes from being 2% milk. Even though I drink whole milk Nate sounds kind of weird. 2% Nate rolls off the tongue a bit better.
Okay. So tell us about your previous channels and stuff like that.
Well, I didn't have anything public. I'm just thinking like, you make an account, right? A BattleNet account or whatever else, you have to name it. And I just was never consistent in my names. I think my summoner name completely different than it is now. I'm pretty sure I just updated that to Nathan. My Origin account was something different, updated that to 2% Nate. So a lot of them have been updated. I'm not even 100%. I think actually my Origin account was no name Nate before I updated it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I was never consistent. I just could never settle on a name until I started streaming.
Okay. And have you, with League of Legends, have you wanted to go professionally, or is it just playing for fun?
I mean, way back in season 1, I was good at League of Legends, but back then the competition was terrible. I probably, unless you've watched League from season 1 onwards, back then there was this guy, I don't even remember what team he is on. His name was Elements, and he had the dumbest picks ever. He might have been. He used to play like Heimerdinger support and stuff though, even though like Janna and Soraka were the top picks. And I was like, I can play better than this dude.
Yeah,
I actually could play.
Soraka, the one you just said, and then Lux as support, or Lux was mainly.
Yeah, and I could play better than Elements, but that's why he didn't last. Really rose the level of play, and then like season 2 onwards, you had people like Faker playing. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I definitely can't go pro. Maybe back in season 1 I had some inkling I could, but after that I was like, no, this is just for fun. I'm just gonna play this game for fun.
Yeah, which is funny because League of Legends isn't that hard of a game to play, especially back then. It was mainly just focusing on your rune pages, stuff like that, making sure you have your setup for your ADC. You had basically one rune page for each account: ADC, top, jungle, mid, support, stuff like that. I mean, my main page was my Udyr jungle with main attack and movement speed, and oh my god, I wrecked face.
Yeah, you don't really wreck face playing the support position, but I like to think I played pretty dang well.
And whenever I play the support position, I just trolled people with Blitzcrank.
But I haven't played League in the past 5 seasons. I think the last season I played, they're in 11, right? I think the last season I played was 6.
Yeah, Vel'Koz and Vi.
Yeah,
that remembering correctly.
That was a long time. That was before season 6, because those 2 champions were part of season 6, so it's been even longer for you.
Yeah. All right. And from what I'm seeing is, would you like to tell us the I survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft story?
I don't play well, I've played Minecraft, but I play creative mode only. Must be thinking about someone else.
Yeah, you have the right thing open.
Yeah, this is the one you sent me.
That's the wrong one.
You sent me the wrong one.
No, that's for later today. This is 2% Nate, not Alex.
This is the only one you sent me.
It's in the dock. Oh my god, my bad.
That's okay. I can talk about I've been playing Minecraft since alpha, but for me, survival games specifically have to be a bit more interesting than just slaying zombies. I hate to people who I'd much rather just play the creative mode, because I'm a builder. I mean, earlier today I was building on The Sims. I love the building in Minecraft. Don't care about the survival mechanics at all. I've killed the Ender Dragon, I've killed the Wither, and then I got bored and just went back to creative. So yeah, no hardcore Minecraft for me. I'm not a hardcore gamer. Like, League is probably the only thing I've ever gotten good at. I'm usually bad at video games, and like you were saying, one of the main things back in season 1 was like knowledge of League was what made you good, as far as like setting up your rune pages and like understanding where to place wards and all that stuff. I'm a good researcher. I'm good at picking up things and like interpreting them. And so games I'm good at are games that require knowledge, not skill. If you're asking me to, have high reflexes and stuff like that. It's just never happening. I'm never playing fighting games and being good at fighting games. You can only go so far with knowledge in those games. So yeah, I'm much more of a researcher than I am a instinct player, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. What was your first job before streaming?
I worked at a grocery store. I mean, I was very work oriented even in my teenage years. So in New York State, the youngest you can get employed is at the age of 14. So when I turned 14, I went looking for jobs. And I found work at a grocery store, and they had like an outdoor section with carts that you have to corral. That's what I did. I pushed carts for the first year. And then when I was 15, they asked, or no, sorry. I think I did that for 2 years. Because then at 14 and 15, the laws are different for labor. And then at 16, you can do more stuff. I don't really know. I don't remember the labor laws exactly. But then, yeah, when I turned 16, they moved me indoors on maintenance, which I don't know. You sweep floors, hang up signs, do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's nice to get out of the weather because I live in a place that the weather's terrible. Pushing carts outside during a blizzard is awful.
And you also got those people who always just return their carts to the wrong place, and then they just leave them all the way down the street, and you have to walk to go get it.
Yeah, I mean that part. When the weather is nice, it was nice. It's just we have 6-month winters here, so you're always pushing stuff through the snow, and that's what was really the worst. So the first 2 years were a bit rough at that job, and then after they swapped me over to maintenance. Well, because I was good at what I did. Well, I mean, not that it's hard to be good. It's like one of those jobs where it's not hard to do, but you have to work hard at it.
Yeah.
So I worked hard at it, and they liked me, and they're like, "Hey, do you want this slightly more prestigious position?" I was like, "Yes, get me indoors, please."
So
yeah, I did that.
What's your favorite moment with Lockdown? A streamer who's on hiatus at the moment.
Yeah, no longer streaming. Shed one tear. My favorite. I mean, I am jealous of his channel redemptions on Twitch. He had so many good ones. He had like the oh man, what was that rapping one called? The music one. Squiggly D or something. Yeah. And then the cyber truck too, I thought was hilarious, and like him just being a floating head too when he wrapped the green blanket around him. Yeah, it was. I don't know that all of the. I mean, it's not a singular. You'd be hard pressed on. Pretty good, but they're nowhere near Lockdown level.
So, what's your biggest Warframe achievement? Since you did say you play Warframe.
All of them.
All of them?
There is no biggest achievement. I have done everything in that game. I have 3,000 hours. I am missing 2. Sorry, they just came out with new items recently. So I'm not just talking about. So mostly when people talk about Warframe, they talk about mastery rank. So there are items in the game, K-Drives, Kubros, I'm not going to list all of them, that give you mastery rank, which then gives you like a number in the top of your profile. So I'm the maximum amount of mastery rank. It's 30 currently.
And
but not only that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
How many hours did you spend on that game, like per day?
Over 3,000
per day.
Oh, per day? I don't know, because I've played since a long time, so it's been divided up. I play these days. I only play like 10 hours a week, but back then there was like a solid year that I literally played Warframe every single day for like at least 5 hours a day. Back when I was working in IT, actually, it was like I'd come home, play Warframe, go to work, come home, play Warframe, go to work, etc. But yeah, as far as like the master rank is, lots of people have the maximum amount of master rank because there's only like 609 items, I think, that you can master in the game. But I went above that. I've literally collected every single item in the game except for like the 6 new ones that just came out. So not just the things that you can master, but also all of the mods, all of the arcanes, all of the cosmetics, like literally everything.
That's a lot. That's a lot of time to invest in that game. So this is like recent, like today recent. Tell us why people should get the Sims 4 DLC and why it's so expensive.
So I mean, you shouldn't get it if you don't want to spend the money on it. I have 300 plus hours in The Sims, so me spending a couple $100 on a game that I've already vested hundreds of dollars in isn't a big deal to me. I do have favorites when it comes to the DLC. I like the Vampire DLC and I like the Spellcasting DLC because they add more. Because you can always find stuff to build your house, right? If you're missing that hot tub, there's probably a second hot tub option. You don't need that specific hot tub from the wellness pack or whatever else. So I like the ones that add more gameplay and you can actually do stuff with your characters. But you might be the opposite. Maybe you want that second hot tub option. So I can't tell you what to buy exactly. I think it's a lot of personal expenditures and what you prefer, what your preferences are. But I don't mind spending the money. It doesn't bother me. But if it bothers you, then don't spend it.
And can you tell the viewers about your heart-shaped house you've been spending lots of hours in, and the level of detail your house has?
Yeah, when I build in The Sims, it's just like my room back here. There's a decoration in the corner. There's 4 posters across the wall. There's lamps. There's tissues. There's chairs. There's stuff on the coffee table. Like, I make my houses in The Sims realistic, and they have a decoration category called clutter. It's my favorite category because it means that I can put all of these clutter things in. And The Sims don't interact with it at all. It doesn't affect gameplay, but when you're building a house, it makes your house look alive and like someone's actually living it. And I really enjoy that aspect of building, I suppose, that detail orientation.
I forget which Sims it was, but I remember I used to play The Sims all the time. It was one where you, if you're creating new characters and stuff, and you didn't have money, you did exclamation point, like some amount of money. I forget which Sims it was that I used to do that with. So I'd give them all the money and then just build these ridiculous houses and then just delete them.
That's since the first Sims onwards. They've kept that same exact cheat
Really?
in every single Sims. Yeah.
Like exclamation mark.
Even the ones on console?
That's right. I don't play consoles. No, I'm pretty sure the console Sims does, because I do watch one Sim streamer that plays on PS4, Sims 4, and I'm pretty sure she still has access to the cheats. I could be wrong about that, but I think they still exist even on consoles. I'm not sure how to input them, but there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
I don't cheat though, because if I'm just building a house, I won't move a sim into it at all, and then you have infinite money when you're in build mode. And if I'm building a house based on a sim, I usually, all the clutter that I add and all that other stuff, I base on their personalities. So I have to role play them first and get into their mindset, and then I'm already earning money, so then adding clutter afterwards isn't usually too expensive. And if all else fails, painting in The Sims 4, if you're playing The Sims 4 and you want to get rich fast, just paint a bunch of painting. They sell for a ridiculous amount for how much effort you have to put into them. It's so easy to make money as a painter in The Sims 4.
When did you get your Game Boy Advance? And tell us a bit about your background story with that.
Well, I guess I got it when it came out. So even the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, I think that was the last one. Because then I was old enough to have a job and pay for my own stuff. Maybe I had that as well. But my parents refused. My parents were like anti-video game growing up. Now that I'm streaming and stuff, they like recognize that it's like a form of art, almost like a recognizable media form. But back then they're like, it's gonna melt your brain, whatever else. So they wouldn't buy consoles for us, and we did have a console. My older brother must have purchased it somehow, saving up allowances or stuff, because I was way too young. We had a Sega, but we were only allowed like an hour tops time, in like not even on weekdays. It was like weekends only to play it. But the Game Boys were an exception. And the sole reason my parents bought us, and I didn't learn this until I was an adult, because they would have never told me this directly as a kid, but the sole reason was to shut us up during long car rides. That's why they bought us portable systems.
Yeah, because it went the original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, which is the rectangle one, then the Game Boy SP, which is the flip, then DS.
I don't think I had the flip one. So the DS was, I was already in high school and I actually had a job, and then I bought it myself. Like I bought it. Yeah. I remember buying a DS. At that point, my parents cut me off
Feeling because I'm that age too where I had to go work for the things I own, and now
Yeah.
it's just like
The-
crap.
But it's weird because, like, yeah, I grew up with Game Boy, but I don't. So, like, once a year we would go, or twice a year actually, we'd go on vacation on these long car rides to, because I live in, well, I don't live in the middle of nowhere, but compared to the rest of my blood-related family, we are in the middle of nowhere. My parents grew up in the South, and I grew up in upstate New York. That's about as far north as you get until you start going into Canada. So, yeah, we would drive, 12-hour drives. Well, I wouldn't drive in it, too young. And that was like the only time we played Game Boy or video games. So I didn't start getting nostalgic for games until like freshman year of high school when I had a job and I could buy them myself. And that's really when it started like snowballing. I bought Morrowind for the PC. I remember like I have a ton of nostalgia for that game. I have a ton of nostalgia for Diablo 2, which is slightly older. And the DS, the Castlevanias that came out on the DS, which is Dawn of Sorrow. I loved that game. But yeah, so those are considered retro now. But when you talk to retro gamers, a lot of times they talk about like Sega and Game Boy Advance games and stuff. And I don't know. I guess I was part of that era of gaming, but I wasn't in it, I guess. So don't have the same nostalgia.
And we did talk about this briefly before the podcast. And you said you were big into like Mario and Pokemon. And you have a Sonic the Hedgehog right behind you. Tell us more about that.
Well, like I said, I don't know if I was big into it. I definitely did it as a kid. I do remember playing Mario and Sonic, and I do specifically remember that Sonic 2 was the first video game I ever beat. But for whatever reason, maybe it's because of the limited time that I was allowed to play them, my fondest memories growing up are like playing basketball outside with my friends and doing stuff like that. So the video games thing didn't really trigger nostalgia effects until later. And I did, and the most prominent Mario memory I actually have is from playing Double Dash on GameCube, which is one of the Mario Karts. And not so much like the N64 versions of Mario. And even Mario 64 got re-released on the DS. And that is when I played it and beat it and collected all the stars. I didn't do that on the 64. I did it on the DS when I was in high school. So a lot of that sort of, and I've played through all of the original Final Fantasies too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they came out. I played them, afterwards when they were re-released on DS or PC or whatever else. So it's kind of strange. I had to go backwards and experience that stuff.
And I don't know if you ever played this type of game, but did you ever get into like Crash Bandicoot? And did you play the remastered version of it in 2015, 16? It came out.
I did not. No, PlayStation was one of those things I missed entirely. I guess I didn't. One of my friends must have had a PlayStation, but I don't remember playing PlayStation 1 games at all. For whatever reason. Because then the era after that, PlayStation 2, was the GameCube era. So I have like a lot of nostalgia for PlayStation 2 games. I remember playing like Soul Calibur 3 and one of the Dynasty Warriors, who knows which one, 4 or 5. And Battlefront 2, not the newest Battlefront 2, but like back then when I was on PS2. So yeah, that PS1 I missed entirely. The only PS1 game I have quote unquote nostalgia for is Final Fantasy VII, but that got re-released on the PC and I played it on the PC. So
You're muted?
I think you're muted, Justin.
Yeah, you're muted.
Holy crap, I've never done that. Okay, so I do have the nostalgia, just like you. I used to go play outside, play video games and stuff like that. But I mean, I also started from the NES to the Nintendo 64 all the way up and stuff like that. But if you had to choose a platform, which one would you choose?
You're talking about streaming platforms? Or just
that or gaming platform?
Oh man, PC. That's the thing I have the most nostalgia for. I played like starting with Diablo. That was like the Diablo story. I actually have a funny Diablo 2 story. So it wasn't until Lord of Destruction came out, for whatever reason, even though I was only 12, this was like the one M-rated game I was allowed to play. I don't know why, but we had a terrible home computer. It was awful, and it was like running on dial-up, and it barely could handle Diablo 2. And I remember there was this one boss you had to farm in Act 5 for a specific drop. He was like a zombie that summoned up a bunch of other zombies, but like he took like 30 seconds to summon up the other zombies. So I didn't realize that because it took me so long to load into the boss arena that I just thought he always had them active. And then I went over to my friend's place, and he had like a fancy computer at the time. I'm sure it's garbage now, but I would play on his computer, and I'd actually load into the boss arena instantaneously. And I could just go farm the boss like back to back to back to back to back without having to kill all the ads. And I just realized, oh my God, my family's computer is absolute trash. And that's why when I was 15 and saved up some money from a job, I was like, I'm building my own. Like, I'm getting a good computer.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it just, depending on the computers and stuff like that, we really couldn't do nothing. What stories did you have playing RuneScape?
Well, stories playing RuneScape. I do the dumbest stuff in RuneScape. I just lost like 120 million gold in RuneScape because I wasn't paying attention and I wandered into the PvP area. So I remember I said earlier, I'm not good at video games. I will reiterate that. I went into full panic mode too. There's like an area in RuneScape that
I think he was just talking to his chat.
Yeah, well, sorry. I thought I turned my alerts off, but one just happened. Anyway, thank you for the follow, buddy. Just to interrupt the podcast briefly. So there's an area called the Wilderness where if you die, you lose what's on you minus the first like 3 most expensive items, unless you attack someone first. And you could turn off your attack options so that you never risk those 3 items. I forgot to turn off my attack options. I was in the Wilderness doing a clue scroll, which you don't even need your expensive gear to do, but I just was spacing out completely, wandered into the Wilderness, attacked someone, and then they killed me back because I just panicked. Like, they were attacking me with magic. I was like, which button do I use to stop like magic from hurting me? And I just died. I lost like 120 mil. But yeah, someone in my chats reminded me of fishing, because fishing's my favorite thing to do in RuneScape. And I hit 99 in both RS3 and old school RuneScape. And now it feels like I have nothing to do. Rip fishing.
Yeah, I remember trying to farm. I forget what's the quickest way to level 9 fire burning or whatever. I don't know if it was the Oaks or other for the free players who level all the way. One of those two. I remember going to the Dragon Island after reaching that level to kill the final boss for the free to play.
Yeah.
Chopping the wood and then starting the fire, going fishing, cooking all the food.
That's Maple Logs. That's in Corsair Cove after doing Dragon Slayer 1. That's Maple Logs, actually. I don't know if that's the fastest way to get fire making, but yeah. I do know that those logs exist because I remember being a free-to-play player and going and chopping down maple logs for... I think I did it for woodcutting experience more than fire making, but yeah.
Let's see. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Ooh, I'm not actually 100% sure in real life. I think...
Nate, it could either be on your
streaming...
It could either be on Twitch or like a life accomplishment you've had, or even in-game accomplishment you're most proud of.
Well, okay, I do have one from Final Fantasy VII. I was so determined to kill Sephiroth, the last boss, with Cloud solo with just the Buster Sword. Not like the upgraded... It's pretty easy to do with an upgraded weapon, but the original Buster Sword. And I remember the setup was like... added effect Hades on the armor, so it was immune to status effects. Haste boots to get the extra speed. And then what I did was I casted Omni Slash on Genova, which is the boss before Sephiroth so that I could then use Mime, because it's a limit break, so you actually have to build it up. But you can mimic it if you have the Mime materia. And then I had Mime connected with NP and HP Steel. And then I think everything else I had was just like passive buffs. And I literally just Omni Slash over and over and over and over again. And I because it had lifesteal, I got some of my life back. But Sephiroth was like slowly chipping away at me, depending on what moves he cast. Because if he tried to cast a status move, I was immune to it. And then I remember I was like one hit away from dying, and I was like, can't do it. It's like, I'm gonna die here. And I casted one last Omni Slash, and that was enough to kill him. And I was like, oh my god, I killed Sephiroth with the Buster Sword. But yeah, that was probably my bet. But once again, it has nothing to do with being like quick playing video games. It's all about knowledge and research and understanding the game mechanics and then using those to your advantage. That's the kind of thing I'm good at in video games.
And speaking of video games, list your favorite builder games. It doesn't have to be city builder. It could just be like any builder, like Fallout 4, Valheim, any builder materials in games.
So I haven't messed it. Valheim I need to look into, because someone did purchase it for me, and I played it for like 25-ish hours, and I was doing the survival stuff, like actually killing the bosses and everything. Man, it feels like everything in that game is a bullet sponge. I know there's no bullets in it, so I guess everything's an arrow sponge. But nothing seems that deadly in Valheim. It's more like dodge, shoot an arrow, dodge, shoot an arrow, dodge. I don't know. It felt boring to me. But the building looks cool. I need to, I know there's a creative mode. I need to just use the creative mode and see what kind of cool stuff I can do in Valheim. Because that part does look really interesting to me. But yeah, the things I built the most in. I mean, Minecraft I've been playing since alpha. So even though I haven't played it recently, and I don't really think the new updates are that interesting, because they're doing a lot of exploration updates. Like the Nether update was the last major one. The newest one's going to be a cave update. And that's not the part of Minecraft that interests me.
Speaking of Minecraft,
But I haven't played it in a little while.
Yesterday we did do a podcast about someone playing Minecraft, and there's a new update coming out soon, the 1.17 update, which does include new caves and goats.
Right, but that's more about exploration, not building. I mean, you get new blocks available to you, but yeah, that's probably why I haven't played Minecraft in a while. There hasn't been any builder update specifically. Like the last one I played was the Redstone update, and I loved that update. But yeah, I haven't really played since then. But after that, I'm trying to think. No Man's Sky is probably the game I invested the most. Well, The Sims. The Sims, we talked about that earlier. I've invested so much time playing The Sims and like building house Sims. But after that, No Man's Sky is probably a close second. I've spent a lot of time building a No Man's Sky. And then probably following that is Fallout 76. And then Fallout 4 is at the bottom of the list, oddly enough. I know there's a ton of mods and stuff you can do with building in Fallout 4, but I think that's kind of overwhelming for me. I think I need the restrictions, and having all these mods available is just like too much. But I do love Fallout 4.
And like you said, you have been playing games for a long time. Tell us how long you've been streaming on Twitch, or have you ever been streaming on any other platform?
Just Twitch. July 1st, 2018 was when I made my Twitch account, and I started streaming 3 days after that. So that was 2.5 years ago now. I knew of Twitch. I'd watched like league tournaments and stuff like that on Twitch, but I didn't realize there was this whole sub community on Twitch of small community streamers until I made an account. And then I'm like, oh my god, there's this aspect of Twitch I've been missing out on my whole life, and I get to meet cool people like Loke and you. I know you asked me earlier how I met Loke, and that's actually like I met Loke through Blurg, who I met through Quad Laser, who I met through Vegan Tire, who I met through Evasive J, who I met through Watch Brother. It's like you get into these communities, and it's like these string of people that are all like friends with each other, and it's really cool. I really like that aspect of Twitch that I missed out on for most of my life.
And like you said, you've been streaming for 2 years. From those 2 years you've been streaming on Twitch, what's your best moment you've had on Twitch?
Best moment on Twitch. That's tough to say, because I feel like there's no specific. I mean, just meeting people that you connect with is really cool. Like I have people that I now like exchange gifts with each other, or I hang out with off stream. Fake on stream, but you have to be extra. So like I'm me, but turned up a notch. And it's cool to like just hang out with people that you could be friends with, and dial it back and just be more yourself, I guess. And yeah, just those moments, connecting with people. And it's not a specific moment. There's a lot of people I've connected with and been able to just like hang out with off stream. And yeah, one of them, we actually do movie nights every Wednesday, and we watch like terrible movies now together on Discord, just like in a little private session, and that's like a lot of fun. And it's not directly on Twitch that happened, but it's through Twitch that we met. So those are my favorite moments.
So a couple days ago, we've been talking, but like, what's your most crazy, stupid story you have for us IRL?
Oh, I don't know if I have a lot of stupid stories for myself. I have one where I did something really stupid. But working in retail, everyone's got stupid customer stories, so I could tell a million of those. But I'll tell the one about myself first. I was in college. I was in the dorm rooms. This is at the University of Pittsburgh. And I had a resident assistant, an RA, who lived on the same floor as us. And she was really cool, like super chill about stuff. She didn't sweat the little things, like no drinking in the dorm, stuff like that. She didn't care about that stuff. She just wanted us to be safe. And if there was like a major conflict, she would help us. So I thought that was really cool for her to treat freshmen like that. And so one day I wander off to like go to a party. And before I leave, I, said, hey, like we're going out tonight. I'll make sure I'm home, like in the dorm, safe. You don't have to worry about us. Cause she's kind of like our mom, I guess, like the cool older sister, maybe. And I was like, I'll make sure to visit you on the way back. So I go to this party, and I'm good about drinks. Like I've never been an overdrinker or anything like that. So I'm counting my drinks, and I count 5 drinks in an hour, which I'm a big guy. It's maybe hard to see on stream, but I'm 6'1", I weigh 200 pounds. Like 5 drinks isn't that much for me. I didn't realize that those drinks were heavy mixed drinks. Apparently the house I went to, I knew like the person who had it, the house party, and they were trying to hook me up, but I didn't realize they were trying to hook me up. So like they were pouring 3 shots per drink. So I had 15 drinks in an hour, not 5. So I was counting drinks the wrong way. And I don't remember anything about that party, but this is where the funny story gets in. So I wake up from this blackout. Last thing I remember is like getting to the party and starting to drink. And apparently my instincts are great. So I got back home in my dorm room, in front of the bathroom, in front of the toilet, throwing up after all of that alcohol. So my instincts were fine, but all of that other area is a blank. So I take care of myself. I drink some water. I go to bed. I'm fine the next morning. I visit my RA and I'm like, I'm so sorry I didn't check in with you last night, even though I promised. She just goes, oh, you checked in with me last night. So during that blackout portion, apparently I wandered home. I go up to her room, and she had like an entranceway, and then it veered off into her room. And in her entranceway, she used to keep like a bowl of candy out. So even if her door was closed, you could go like and grab a candy or whatever. And apparently I just grabbed the bowl. Her door was open. So like I was rude, but I wasn't that rude. I grabbed the bowl, walk into her room, say hello, proceed to lie down on her bed and just eat the entire bowl of candy. And then I fell asleep on her bed for 2 hours. And I was like, how did you put up with that? She's like, well, I was up studying anyway, and you were being quiet, so it's not like.
If you could stream with any famous streamer, who would it be and why?
So the business side of me doesn't want to answer this way. The business side of me wants to find someone that would help me specifically grow my stream. But my favorite famous streamer is Ties, who is a Hearthstone streamer. And the why is just because he's my favorite streamer. I don't have a good reason other than that. It would be 100% an emotional reason, I suppose, as opposed to a business side of things. I don't know how to answer that business-wise. I don't know who's famous as a variety streamer specifically that would be good for me to co-stream with. But Ties, I love Ties. I love that. Even though I don't play Hearthstone. That's how good of a streamer he is for me. I watch him even though I don't play Hearthstone.
Good to know. Good to know. What's your favorite D&D?
Well, if we're talking about editions, it's the newest edition. And I have very strong opinions about this, but the short story is old editions of D&D are too slow. Every single combat roll you make just lasts forever. I mean, if you go back to Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which is 2nd edition, there's like literally a page, maybe even 2 pages dedicated to grappling rules, where you have to roll whether you're grappling their arm, their leg, their collar, whatever else. In D&D 5e, it's very simple. If you're grappling someone, they still have free movement of their arm. You're basically just grabbing their armor or something like that. So they can't move without breaking the grapple, but they can still perform actions. Those kind of simplifications make the pacing of it just so much better. And that's I've played like Vampire Masquerades and some other random one, Changeling and some other random ones. D&D just is, the newest edition of D&D is so smooth to play that I absolutely love it.
And just a quick question for the viewers who don't know what D&D is. Would you mind explaining to them?
Sure. It's a pen and paper RP. So it's a role-playing game. You have a piece of paper in front of you that's your character sheet. And as a player, that's all you need. So your dungeon master, your game master, whatever you want to call them, will help you fill out your character sheet. You'll come up with a persona that you want to roleplay. So a lot of times for new players, they just play themselves in a fantasy world, so they don't have to worry about like acting or coming up with decisions that they wouldn't normally make, which is perfectly fine. That actually works really well for a first time, sometimes even repeat times. But essentially, all you need is your imagination in that piece of paper. So if you're in the middle of, I don't know, a battle, and you're a warrior and all you've got is a sword, and you see a flying unit, and you're looking at your sheet of paper in front of you, and it says you have a grappling hook in your inventory, you can just ask the dungeon master, try to like pull down this flying creature, and they'll say something like, yeah, make it. Roll a die, which is a d20, and then you'll just look on your sheet and there'll be a little number next to strength that'll see like +3 or +4 or whatever. You just add that to the dice roll, and then the dungeon master will be like, no, that fails, or yes, that succeeds. It's that simple. You have a sheet in front of you that gives you all the math that you need, and after that, all you need is your imagination. And the hard part is being the dungeon master, which is what I am, but I've been playing D&D for 16 years, so I'm the one who has to know all the rules and come up with the actual scenarios and do all of that stuff. Not that I don't like it. I do enjoy it a lot. It's just almost like a second job sometimes.
So, how do you feel then to how you feel now streaming on Twitch? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you need to change platform? Do you need to go like Facebook Gaming, YouTube?
Facebook. Never Facebook. I've thought about making videos on YouTube. I don't think I would stream on YouTube. I like Twitch. I like the people I've met on Twitch. And, it has its cons, but so does every platform. It's not like anything out there is perfect. And Twitch is, I think, really good. I think there's a reason Mixer failed, and it's not just popularity. I think even though Mixer had its strengths as far as like encoding and stuff like that, because they were more tech oriented, it's just, there's a different community there. And I know people complain about the Twitch terms of services sometimes, like, the biggest complaint is, why are all these booby streamers up? It's like, who cares, dude? Just let them do their thing. But I don't know. I just think that for whatever reason, it clicks better on Twitch, and that's why I would want to stay on it. As far as how I feel, of course, I feel more comfortable. Like I'm used to the technical side of things now from when I first started. I have a green screen now, which I think is cool, because if you don't have a green screen, you have all this extra space on your webcam, and that takes up space on the monitor, from your game itself. So you have to shrink yourself pretty small. But with a green screen, I can be huge, and I don't take up that much space. So my head can be like almost the main focus of my stream, and I can be more personal with people, which I think is more my style of stream, like we're doing now, just shooting the shit and talking about whatever comes up.
Go ahead, Justin.
How many pieces of jewelry have you created or made?
So this is, so those of you who don't know, I am a jeweler. That was something, I suppose I should give my backstory first before I answer how many pieces I made. When I was 12, I lived in Italy for 6 months, and I don't know the exact arrangement I had because I missed American school, but I didn't speak Italian, so I couldn't go to school there. My parents must have told this, at that age you're in middle school, you're not really learning a whole lot. They must have had some arrangement with them that allowed me to skip that portion. I do kind of remember doing makeup tests when I got back. Anyway, while I was there, my parents still wanted me to like learn and stuff, so my mom was teaching metalsmithing for a college, an American college. It's like an abroad program. And there was like a studio. So I would go with her to work and I would be in the studio. And I didn't have to specifically learn metalsmithing because the other teachers were willing to teach me too. So I did pick up a little bit of printmaking and a little bit of ceramics. But for whatever reason, maybe it's just because I'm close with my mom, or maybe just I like jewelry better than those other two art forms. But I fell in love with it. And I just started making pieces at the age of 12, learning how to use a jeweler's saw and the soldering, the torch part was mostly I had a lot of help from other students and from my mom. Now I can solder, no problem. But I just stuck with it. And when I got home, well, from Italy, I would just work in my mom's personal studio because she has one connected to the house. And then in high school, we actually had a jewelry program, so I took jewelry in high school, which I was way more advanced at that point than because the class is still teaching beginners, but it's still cool to be a part of the class and like get to use the resources and everything else. And I never really stopped. There was a period of time for like 8 years that I didn't make a piece, but from 12 to 18, I don't know, 20 to 30 pieces. And then I took like 7 years off. And now I kind of am trying to keep a pace of 1 to 2 pieces a year, but really dedicate a lot of time to them. Because my first few pieces were just like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like this. I was 12 years old. So now they're way more professional.
And could you show us any of your sketching or your drawing for your jewelry?
I can. I don't know if it's easy to show on my stream, or how would I capture this on Discord to show? Because I have screenshots.
So down at the bottom, you will go ahead and click where between your camera and a screen with the arrow. Share your screen, and then choose the source.
Should I just choose my whole screen? That might be right.
I mean, yeah, you could do that.
Okay, so is it showing now on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, wait. I have a section in my Discord where I have a lot of my posted pages, so I'll just go there. Jewelry. So this piece I made this year. Well, sorry, last year. It's already 2020. And I have a lot of like the preliminary test designs too. And then this was made the year before that. That last piece was 2020. This one was 2019. This was 2018. So like I said, I'm trying to keep pace of one a year. And then these are some of my older pieces that I made in high school. Some of the better ones. I didn't take pictures of the super ugly ones or the ones I consider ugly. But yeah. That's some of them.
That seems very creative of you. I like the second to last one.
This one?
Yes.
Or just yeah. That's one of my favorites too. I swear I have more pictures too. Maybe it's in my main Discord. No, I really gotta organize my stuff. Someday that's all going to be organized, and I won't have to mess around with it. I'm very bad at organization sometimes. How do I end this fourth screen button?
You just go at the bottom and click it again.
Ah, I see. Stop streaming. Thank you. I'm not used to Discord. I have a Discord, obviously, for stream, and I post like my going live messages and stuff, but it's not fancy. Like, I don't understand all the intricate things in Discord, so that's something I gotta learn, I guess. I could learn it. I've learned a million other tech things. I just haven't sat down and actually messed with all the settings. And OG King, thank you for the follow.
So, who do you look up to, either on Twitch or in general? Any streamers, any of your friends who inspired you or continue to what you forward into continuing your streams?
I can tell you that the person that's made me a better person is my best friend, who I think might still be in my chat at least, Bitten Kitten. She's if I didn't meet her, I wouldn't be the person I am. I would be angsty and grumpy still and not be enjoying life like I am today. So I mean, I don't know if I can look up to her because she's a foot shorter than me, but she's an amazing person, and I'm glad to have her as my best friend.
And speaking of socials, previously, what's the weirdest replies you've ever gotten on your socials, like your Instagram, your Twitter, your Snapchat, your TikTok?
I don't think I've gotten that many weird replies. Well, one time, I mean, you get those people. I feel like this is just in general on Twitch. Like, I think the weirdest things that to me are the weirdest, like straight up trolls. I get they're like trying to grab attention or whatever else. Like, that's not weird to me. I don't quite understand it. Like, I would never do it myself, but I get why they're doing it, I guess. But sometimes you'll get people who come into your stream or whatever else, and they tell you, I guess they're one-uppers is the coin for them. They'll tell you all the stuff they've done in that video game. I suppose it's the same sort of concept, like they're trying to grab attention. But like, I don't care. I don't care what your video game accomplishments are, and you're probably making them up anyway for attention. And it's so bizarre to me. Like, that's really the first thing you're gonna say to someone? Oh yeah, you know, I've built a space station just like that in No Man's Sky. I had someone come in when I was working on my space station, and I was like, really? Let me see a screenshot. Of course, they don't have a screenshot to share. I think one of my funniest stories, and Evasive J, one of the streamers I'm friends with, could probably tell this better, but he was playing, I think it was Gunfire. No, it was Gungeon. It was Enter the Gungeon. And someone was telling him like the best weapon combos or something like that. And he just goes, oh man, you're really good at this game. You should start streaming it. Like right now, dude, like you should start streaming it. And I guess the guy actually did start up stream. And of course, Jay didn't, like he didn't end his stream to go watch this other dude. So the dude streamed for like 30 minutes and came back. And Jay just goes, wait, you actually thought I was going to watch you? Absolutely not. I just wanted you out of my chat. It was pretty funny.
So now that we're at the end of the podcast, would you mind giving us a motivational speech for the viewers? For those who want to continue streaming on Twitch or who are new to streaming on Twitch or anything in general.
Well, I don't know how motivational this is, but I like to think that you want to keep your mind grounded. It's kind of like what I said earlier. If you expect to be the next Shroud, you never will be the next Shroud. He has a team of people working for him. Unless you're ridiculously good at networking and have editors on the ready, you're not going to be that way. Start small. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't buy a green screen until you've been streaming for 2 years. Buy a cheap webcam. Buy a headset with a decent quality mic. You know, the mic quality I think is somewhat important. And then just do it. Just start streaming and see if you enjoy it. And if you enjoy, set your goals low. 2 followers a day, 1 follower a day when you're first starting out, and just see if it's something you can fall in rhythm with. And that's only if you want to grow, because there are streamers out there. I like to compare this to music, to people who have never, like, don't understand Twitch at all. If you're a musician, you might just be playing in your room alone, practicing guitar. Or maybe you get together with your buds and have a jam session. Or maybe you're like a garage band and, you know, you do play occasionally for like local areas. Or maybe you're a millionaire rock star. Like, there's different levels of everything. If you want to stream, but all you want to do is stream for your friends, then put it on followers only mode and only get your friends in there. Like, you don't have to stream professionally. You don't have to stream 40 hours a week. But if you want to, start out small, don't spend too much money, and see if you like the rhythm of streaming 5 days a week, because you might get burnt out and you just wasted a bunch of money otherwise. So, not motivational, but maybe realistic.
That was good. Just, do you have any final question before we end off the podcast?
No, just let everybody know where they can find you at, and when you're tell us about your streaming schedule and when they could expect to see you.
Sure. Twitch.tv/2% Nate. The percent part is spelled out. That's on purpose because the percent sign is used in HTML. Can't actually use it in a name. So yeah, 2, the number, then percent Nate. And that's true on Twitter, Twitter/2% Nate, and Instagram. On Twitter, I try to cover anything on stream. Like, if you miss stream, you can get like a short recap on Twitter. And on Instagram, I just post pictures of my cats. You like cat pictures? Go to my Instagram. And as far as when I'm actually live, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days in a row. Today, obviously, we changed it up because I'm on Sunday. And just, I start in the afternoon, and then I just stream until either I get way too hungry to continue streaming. I mean, I've done 12-hour streams before where I've just been so intense in a video game I don't stop. But yeah, so the end times are a bit random, but I always at least try to go for 6 hours straight. So on average, we'll say 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Standard Time, but that does vary a little bit. But you can always expect me on in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday through Saturday.
Awesome.
Perfect.
We'll link everything down in the description if you guys want to go and check them out. And Nate, thanks for joining the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast. Thank you.
I love the name, by the way.
Yeah, it was very random, but thank you.
As you can see, there's a reason for what the hell are we doing, because Nerdy's still new to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, so you don't even have to worry about it.